no trace. So Lisa's abuse continued.
I need a rescue on High Street.
One of the babies again?
Yes.
Finally, a desperate Dr. Weissman sent Lisa and her mother to one of the finest hospitals in the world. But unfortunately, say the prosecutors and their medical experts, that hospital may have unwittingly provided Brenda Snyder with the cover she needed to continue abusing her daughter. The hospital was Massachusetts General, where Lisa was seen by Dr. Daniel Shannon, a leading expert on pediatric breathing problems. Dr. Shannon believes that repeated, unexplained breathing problems can mean a baby is at high risk for sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, and the department he founded at Mass General 25 years ago has long been considered the best place to send infants like Lisa. Dr. Shannon decided that Lisa had a rare seizure disorder and could indeed be at risk for sudden death. So he ordered a radical solution, a pacemaker surgically implanted in her chest to normalize her heart rate whenever she stopped breathing. It was a treatment that surprised Dr. Weissman because he could find nothing wrong with her heart. Were you concerned about it? Were you worried about it?
Since he was the expert in this field, I felt that we should follow his recommendations.
May we help you?
But not everyone felt that way. Thomas Truman, at the time a young doctor at Mass General assigned to help care for Lisa, says he had developed serious doubts about the pacemaker idea after talking with Lisa's parents.
I spent about 30 to 45 minutes speaking with the parents, and Mother reported in great detail how she had, on numerous occasions, resuscitated both Lisa's older brother and her. I turned to the father and said, well, how many times have you had to resuscitate her? And he said, oh, none. It's never occurred while I'm there. I thought the light bulb would go off over Dad's head when I kind of had these pointed questions, but it just never came.
But to Dr. Truman, it was obvious, and he quickly told a member of the team that Brenda was the cause of Lisa's problems.
And I said, let's hold off on the pacemaker, and let's just make sure what we have here is not child abuse.
Dr. Shannon discussed it with his team and decided that despite Dr. Weissman's concerns and the fact that the mother was the only one to witness her problems, Lisa should receive the pacemaker as scheduled. And that evening, on her first birthday, a cardiac pacemaker was implanted in Lisa's chest.
First and foremost, he put a pacemaker in a child who didn't need it.
Dr. Offhoven says the pacemaker only added to baby Lisa's problems.
So in the do no harm category, not only was she alive and well and happy and pain-free when she walked into the hospital, subsequently knocked out, taken to the operating room, cut open, woke up on a ventilator in an intensive care unit. I mean, sick, sick, sick.
So what you're saying is that the implantation of the pacemaker itself, was child abuse?
Yes.
Dr. Shannon spoke to us at length off the record, but he declined our repeated request to talk to us on camera. In his place, Mass General offered us an interview with Dr. Ronald Kleinman, Chief Medical Officer for Pediatrics at the hospital. Shannon, you didn't take care of Lisa Judware.
I did not.
But after reviewing her medical file, Dr. Kleinman told us that Lisa's operation had been necessary.
And the team decided that there was very clear evidence that she had a heart rhythm problem, that there wasn't enough evidence to warrant a strong suspicion that this was child abuse.
After the pacemaker was implanted, Dr. Truman decided to report his suspicions about Brenda Snyder to authorities back in Malone, New York. But Dr. Shannon, he says, tried to talk him out of it.
He vehemently tried to get me not to report my concern for abuse. I said, I'm concerned, I have to follow the law, I'm reporting it.
But to Dr. Truman's dismay, nothing happened, because it turned out that Dr. Shannon had also spoken to the local authorities and informed them that Dr. Truman was wrong, that Lisa was not being abused.
Essentially, because a world-famous physician in Boston contradicted me, the concern for abuse was unfounded. It was declared unfounded and dropped.
Dr. Shannon gave his professional opinion to whoever he talked to in New York. She had heard Dr. Truman's opinion. She heard Dr. Shannon's opinion.
I think Dr. Shannon's actions, unfortunately, prevented what could have been a useful investigation into whether child abuse was occurring. Effectively, it was a preemptive strike.
Dr. Shannon also told Brenda